Welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's story analysis. We're unpacking a brilliant classic tale of wit, survival, and the profound consequences of hasty decisions. In today's Explainer, The Clever Escape, we're going to dig into the source material and see exactly how a legendary figure uses nothing but his mind to cheat a truly gruesome death. It is a fascinating look at the balance between patience and justice, and I promise you, the way this all plays out is going to keep you right on the edge of your seat.
Okay, I want you to start by putting yourself directly into this situation. Seriously, imagine this scenario for a second. You are completely immobilized. You've been buried right up to your neck in packed dirt. You can't move your arms, you can't move your legs, and worse, you are just sitting there, completely helpless, waiting for a massive elephant to be brought over to literally crush you to death. I mean, it sounds like a terrifying scene from an action movie, right? But this is the exact predicament our protagonist, the notoriously clever Tenali Rama, finds himself in. Take a second to really think about it. How do you escape a crushing elephant? You have zero tools, no weapons, and very little time.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the death penalty, the origin of the crisis. Let's do a quick flashback to explain exactly how our genius protagonist ended up trapped in the dirt to begin with.
Which brings us to Part 2. The King's Angry Decision, a rush to judgment.
And this brilliantly illustrates the anatomy of a complete disaster. Instead of investigating the poisoned rumors whispered by Tenali's jealous enemies, the king just explodes. Look at how fast this happens. Minute 1, enemies spread false rumors. By minute 5, King Krishnadevaraya is entirely blinded by rage. And by minute 10, a gruesome execution is ordered with zero investigation. It highlights how terrifyingly fast things escalate when decisions are driven purely by hasty anger rather than facts. A man's life is literally signed away in a matter of minutes just because a leader lost his temper.
Part 3. Tenali Rama's cleverness. Wit in the face of death. So, while the soldiers are off grabbing the elephant, a gullible, hunchbacked washerman wanders by and asks Tenali why he's buried in the dirt. Tenali stays perfectly calm. He looks up and replies with a completely straight face, "Brother, my back was bent just like yours. A sage told me that standing buried for 2 hours cures it. Look, my hunchback is gone." I mean, it is absolutely absurd. The contrast here is just comedic gold. Tenali is literal moments away from being crushed by an elephant, a brutal execution, yet he spins it into this ridiculous story about a magical mud spa treatment for posture correction. It's a total lie, sure, but as you'll see, it's targeted perfectly at his audience of one.
And how does the washerman react to this wild claim? He eagerly replies, "Really? Then please help me too." No way, right? But he buys it completely. The washerman is so eager, so blinded by his own desperate desire to be cured of his hunchback, that he doesn't question the logic at all. He doesn't stop to ask why the king's guards were involved, or, why Tenali couldn't just dig himself out if he was supposedly cured. His sheer gullibility is the exact key Tenali needed. The trap perfectly springs shut, not on Tenali, but on the unsuspecting washerman.
Let's break down exactly what happened here, because this is a masterclass in quick thinking and persuasion. First, Tenali spots an opportunity the second the washerman appears. Second, he immediately analyzes the man's physical condition and exploits that desperate desire for a cure, basically weaponizing the man's own psychology against him. And finally, the swap. The washerman eagerly digs Tenali out, jumps into the hole himself, and lets Tenali pack the dirt right back up to his neck. Tenali then simply dusts himself off and walks away. A flawless, on-the-fly execution of wit.
Part 4. The truth revealed. The aftermath of the swap. Picture this. The soldiers finally return with a massive elephant, ready for an execution.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark behavioral contrast between our two main characters during this high-stakes crisis. Think about it. The king is a man with ultimate power, yet he was completely driven by anger, haste, and unfounded rumors. His emotional snap reaction almost caused an irreversible tragedy. On the other hand, you have Tenali Rama, a man with literally zero physical power in that moment, buried up to his neck, yet driven entirely by calmness, sharp wit, and a sheer instinct for survival. The king let his emotions blind him, while Tenali used his calm intellect to save himself. Part 5, Lesson on Anger and Justice. Timeless wisdom for today. Now we're pivoting from a historical folktale to how this applies directly to us. In the story, the resolution actually happens quite peacefully, but only because of Tenali's bravery after the fact. See, Tenali doesn't just run away into hiding. He goes straight back to the king and explains the entire event. Hearing this, the king is struck with profound regret. He realizes the catastrophic error he nearly committed. He formally apologizes to Tenali, ensures the poor washerman is safely dug up, and makes a solemn vow. He will never again hand down a punishment without a proper, thorough investigation.
Our source material provides some absolutely powerful takeaways here. Decisions made in anger are almost always wrong. Snap judgments inevitably lead to regret. True justice requires careful investigation. And wisdom and patience are essential for leadership. We really need to bridge the gap here because the king's rushed execution order is just an extreme historical version of the hasty, emotion-driven snap judgments we make every single day. Think about sending off a furious email to a coworker because of a rumor you heard, or making a really harsh judgment in a relationship during a heated argument. We've all been there, right?
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a critical thought to mull over. When was the last time you let anger make a decision for you? Did you actually take the time to investigate the facts, or did you just react in the heat of the moment like the king? I hope this story analysis encourages you to pause, take a breath, and use your wit instead of your rage the next time you face a crisis. Thank you so much for joining me, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.